Well, pardon me my tardiness. I hope you are all doing well today. Uh, yes, as previously stated on Discord, I'm not doing too well. I'm in pain. My back is killing me. Like there's no tomorrow, but that's there's only so much that I can do right now. You can probably see in the background. There are some more boxes there and no boxes there. We had to mm, there. We had to clean up the space um, near the radiators. The near the heating radiators here. Here there's a typically in Finland the houses have, or the apartment complex buildings at least, and many other smaller buildings have central heating, and they've been doing some fixing. They took took off the part with the knob. They just cut it off and put a new one in. And in the living room, in the other side of that, the wall in front of me, I came home only to discover that the radiator uh, in the living room, which is the biggest room in the apartment, I came home to notice that um, the entire central heating, there's the hot water going through it. Only to notice that the entire radiator is, I don't know, 3 meters tall, 3 meters long. It was gone, nowhere to be seen. Um, and I called them up. I called them up, and I said, and I was, started being cranky. Like, what the fuck have you done with the radiator? It's gone. It's missing. And the guy who picked up was actually the guy who worked on it, and he said, "Oh well, I broke it. There was a part of it that just he grabbed it and it just cracked cracked and it was in his hand. So they took the entire bit off and they're now waiting from the permission from the administration on whether or not they can replace it entirely, or whether they have to or whether they have to just replace the bit that was um, that just broke apart, basically. And my suspicion is that these radiators that we have are the original ones from the 1960s. So the guy told me that it was rusty and it would have started leaking. It would have started leaking anyway. So it was good that we didn't have a leak. So and they got well, but the question is whether or not we'll get an entirely new radiator, or whether they'll just fix the part that was broken. Who knows? Now, I actually went to Lidl. For those who do not know, Lidl is a chain, or a German grocery store chain or supermarket chain, where they sell German stuff. Uh, I don't know, maybe currywurst, etc. But groceries, all kinds of sandals, clothing, etc. And I went there today after I was finished with my errands. I found a Czech beer, Kozel, which is non-alcoholic. Basically, it says under 0.5 equals or under. Um, Pizza that as old as me then. Well, this was built in I think 1966 or something like that. Um, Again, a replacement parts from the 60s. Even NASA has a problem with it. Look, because they manufacture these things the same way than as they did all those years ago. I mean, the parts haven't really changed over the decades. They still, because the parts are so good, they still manufacture the parts, and they use it to build. They build these things all these years later. They figured out, okay, and of course they've made some upgrades, but the physical plugs, some of the physical plugs, or the some of the fittings, some of the fittings are still the same because they still manufacture that shit. It's they because the knobs or the thermostats, etc. That they um, replaced. They're new and shiny. They're just vanilla. They've they're who knows how they are recent. It's vanilla. These parts they put new parts, like brand new parts, on these decades old radiators. So yeah, they do have replacement parts for the radiators from the late 60s. It's like asking for replacement parts for a Boeing a Boeing 747. It still exists, and they can still fit for the most part, to my knowledge. They can still fit uh, new newly manufactured parts to a 747 built decades ago. So okay, enough of my rant. Sorry. I, I'm tired, etc. So let's go and talk about pleasurable things. Okay, pleasure. Well, enjoyment, happiness, or satisfaction, or something that gives you these things is from Cambridge Dictionary of English Language. And many different things can give you these, and it's the opposite of pain and suffering, uh, and relatable to value, uh, desire, and action. Um, Humans and other conscious animals have and have the sense of pleasure, uh, or enjoyable, positive feelings to seek. Humans seek pleasure from many different places. Yeah, may find pleasure in drugs, but that is chemical. But the pleasure is chemical. It's dopamine, serotonin. You get these good feeling hormones when you do whatever it is. It could be food, it could be drugs, alcohol, tobacco, Uh, I don't endorse using tobacco products. That stuff gives you cancer, etc. Uh, and then we come to sex, and then eating, because these things bring us pleasure. However, there is the fact that often religion, more often than not, religion denies us the opportunity to have pleasure, the opportunity to um, enjoy things. Uh, there's been there are writings in, for example, the Bible, in the Old Testament, like as in Leviticus and so forth, the books of Moses, uh, and in the New Testament, for example, Apostle Paul, he was a misogynistic asshole, well, as far as I'm concerned. So then we have Judaism, Islam, and several other religions. But for example, the Abrahamic religions, the Middle Eastern three, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, they have all have the tendency to limit our ability or permission to enjoy, to have pleasure, and all that in simply in search of serving God, and that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. Excuse me. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to blow my nose. I may or may not have a runny nose. Please check the description box down below. And my shirt is horrible. And what brings me the pleasure to is to introduce you to Bertil and Stefan. They're both here. Throughout history, we have been denied, or the humanity has been denied, the pleasure of many things, but more than a lot of other things, we've been denied the sex things, the pleasure of sex. The religion has attempted to restrict us on the field of sexuality, who and the pleasure of love, the pleasurable feeling of love. Okay, I do realize that some people are aromantic, and some people are asexual. They do not experience the romantic feelings or sexual feelings. Uh, Peter says, surely pleasure is subjective. Yes, sure, yes. But however, there are certain universal sources of pleasure. Uh, hum- the you know generalizing, there is the sexual pleasure. There is um, the from love, okay, and one of the deadly sins from of the Catholic Church is lust. Uh, being having the sexual pleasures is somehow a sin, uh, a bad thing, and for the most part, most of us get some enjoyment from food and drink, because typically humans get hungry and thirsty, and we have our favorite foods. We get pleasure from eating eating our favorite foods, um, whatever that may be. And I highly recommend moderation um, in eating and drinking. Damn it, I need to go change my shirt. Sorry. There's of course the emotional and pleasure of being close to someone you love, touching, hugging. Uh, that brings you pleasure. And however, premarital sex, it has been quite can be pleasurable most of the time. It is, but that is a bad thing according to the Abrahamic religions. Uh, okay, so let's. Uh, where do we have it? Yes, there are. I actually seems as if um, I've lost the tab. Okay, here we have it. Why is it my yes the seven the seven deadly sins? What the what are these? Okay, historical and there have been historical and modern definitions, um, but there is the modern and historical definition of these. But they are lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. So lust is a deadly sin, one of the seven deadly sins. Uh, it is um, defined as such. Lust or lechery is an intense longing. Is intense longing. It is usually thought as an intense or unbridled sexual desire, which may lead to fornication, etc., etc. And there's also called the philosophical side of it. Philosophers, since the dawn of time, have pondered upon what that is. And there is, from Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, a nice one. This is uh, originally from 2005 and substantially reviewed in 2016. And this is something that I'll post that in the chat. Anyway, okay, there, there we go. Okay, okay. So, sorry for repeating. Wait, just yeah. Okay. So the I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Anyway, if you have any questions, please ask them in the chat. And while you're at it, give me a thumbs up. But the pleasure animals, conscious animals, have felt the feeling of what we now define as pleasure um, for millions and billions of years. That as there have been conscious animals for billions and billions of years, and all of these have, to some extent, experienced some some sense or sensation of what we now would uh, define as pleasure of some sort, from eating, sex, sexual reproduction, uh, and so forth, and so forth. Uh, just other hmm. Peter says, going by that list, I'm in big trouble. Then, yeah. By the way, has is my image quality, sound quality, okay to you now? Can you is the sound and etc. okay? Because there's been some things that I've changed in my settings, and the sound is okay. Wonderful. Um, because there was YouTube's told me, harassed me about the bit rate, but here there this here is a in-depth analysis of what pleasure is, and I highly recommend reading it. I will put it in the description box down below. It's a good one and really, really interesting. And they have some really good references too here. So it's the way to go. Mm. And I get pleasure from good food and drink. Uh, and this this one is dark. It's a dark beer. It's really good. I like dark beer in general. Of course, that is non-alcoholic version, but regardless, it's very good, and that gives me pleasure. Um, but of course, being gay is being gay is a sin, and LGBTQ, but that can give living in the community can give you uh, an immense pleasure of social pleasure, pleasure from the social activities, being able to make friends, acquaintances, that can give you pleasure of from the feeling of belonging, that you belong somewhere. Um, of course, being in the majority can give you a sense of belonging, and that is just absolutely fine. Nothing wrong about that. But when you are part of a very small minority and a minority within a minority, let's say transgender, uh, Pizza says, I didn't see being gay in this list. Yes, it can give you great pleasure. And being trans can give you a great deal of pleasure. Um, Finally, when you finally uh, admit to yourself what you are, who you are, transition, and show it to others, uh, um, it gives you pleasure. And being a part of the social, the community. Um, not so long ago, um, I went to an event in this lovely town, or lovely city of Helsinki, and it was an LGBTQ event of of sorts, and it gave me tremendous pleasure to be there because it gave me, and most likely it gave others too, the feeling of belonging, being a part of something bigger, but yet more small. Trans community is small. The LGBTQ community in is small, and when you can be part of something bigger, not just you alone, but of something bigger. It gives you pleasure. Seeing good art is gives you pleasure, or can give you pleasure. Um, and seeing drag and burlesque. I went to see drag and burlesque um, a while ago, and it gave me tremendous pleasure. Some people say it's a horrible sin, but they don't know any better because they don't know what they are missing on, and because it's so enjoyable to see good performance, performance arts. It's that gives you pleasure. Uh, the company of your community gives you pleasure. And Pizza says, being yourself. And yes, it can give you pleasure being yourself when you are in terms with who you are, what you are, why you are, or at least with some of these questions. So, what gives me a lot of pleasure on this channel, and yes, doing these videos does give me pleasure. Uh, so basically, there has always been there's always been pleasure. Most of it has been considered sinful or bad by religion, and instilled into our minds, or and in the minds of millions, and then they restrict themselves for whatever reason, just for the sake of religion. They restrict themselves and strip themselves of the possibility of having of enjoying life and getting the pleasure of life. And my pleasure is to announce the date of the next guest appearance, I can tell you, it's on. It's next week, Thursday, October 27th. Next week, Thursday, the 27th. Let me just check the time. Half around 6:30, quarter to that's 6:30. Let's say 6:30 or 6:40. Okay, sorry, 6:45 Thursday. So 6:45 Thursday. Maybe it could be it could be 15 minutes earlier, but let's say 6:30 UK time. Yes, so 6:30, 6:45 UK time. Next Thursday, 27th, 6:30 p.m. UK. Yeah. So that is how it is. Bowie says if joy was a sin, then transphobes are major sinners for getting pleasure from attacking the trans community. Precisely, yes. Okay. Let's see. That is, my image is a bit blurry, but too bad. Anyway, I'll try and see if something. Oh, okay. Oh. So I think I'll have this one short because I'm tired. I've had a horrible day, or not a horrible day, but I may or may not disclose things later, but we'll see. Anyway, because I have been a bit under the weather, here. The next time that I can with 100% certainty promise you a live show is next week, Thursday, the 27th, with a guest who is to be announced later. This was, I've known this one, I've known that this one is coming for a couple of weeks now, I think, but I've been just sitting on it, really. I think I've been sitting on it for too long, but I will not. Okay, I've had yeah, I've known it for 2 weeks. Yep, I've known almost 2 weeks now. Almost 2 weeks now. So yeah. So you'll see. But I hope to see you on Monday, and please go check the links down there. Leave a like, a subscribe, notification bell, and a very big thank you to Flems for being my patron and supporting these two wonderful things. Now, have a good night, a good day for Peter, and I'll see you next time.